Level 1, the spotter. You stand outside a crowded hospital, pretending to scroll through your phone while your eyes quietly track people coming and going, learning to notice who is alone, who is desperate, and who won't be missed right away. Your instructions are simple but heavy, telling you to observe patterns, note routines, and send updates without asking why certain people matter more than others. A man sits on a bench nearby, coughing into his sleeve while checking his phone again and again, and you mark him without hesitation, even though something about it feels wrong. You take a photo at the right moment, careful not to be seen, and send it off without a word. Because in this system, silence is part of the job. At the end of the day, money lands in your account for doing almost nothing, and that's the first moment you realize how easy it is to step further in. Level 2, the transporter. Now you don't just watch anymore. You move people from one place to another, following routes that change every day to avoid patterns that could expose you. The first time, the person sitting in the back seat doesn't ask questions, but their silence feels heavier than any conversation ever could. You keep your eyes on the road, pretending everything is normal, even as you notice how tightly they hold onto the door handle with every turn. Halfway through the drive, a police car appears behind you, and your grip on the steering wheel tightens just enough to feel it in your bones. You maintain your speed, your posture, your breathing, and when the car finally passes you, the relief hits like a wave you refuse to show. When you reach the drop-off point, you don't wait. You leave immediately, because you're already learning that staying longer than necessary creates problems. Level 3, the handler. Now you're the one giving instructions, coordinating movements, making sure every step happens exactly as planned without delay or confusion. You sit in a dim room with multiple phones in front of you, each one connected to a different part of the operation, and none of them ever stop buzzing. A delay in one location forces you to adjust everything else in real time, shifting routes, changing timings, and making decisions that affect people you will never meet. One mistake could expose the entire chain, and you feel that pressure every time a call comes in slightly later than expected. When someone hesitates on the line, your voice hardens without warning, because hesitation spreads quickly if it isn't controlled immediately. By the end of each night, your head feels heavier than your body, but the money wired into your accounts makes it easier to ignore what those decisions actually mean. Level 4, the technician. Now you're inside controlled environments where everything is precise, timed, and monitored, and mistakes are not an option anymore. Bright lights hang overhead as you prepare tools and follow strict procedures, focusing only on the task in front of you while shutting out everything else. You stop thinking about names, faces, or stories, because those details only make the job harder to complete. Your hands move with increasing confidence, guided by repetition and expectation, until the process feels mechanical rather than human. There's a moment during one operation when something doesn't go exactly as planned, and the room tightens with silent tension. You correct it quickly, faster than you thought possible, and no one says anything afterward. But you understand what would have happened if you didn't. Level 5, the broker. Now the operation moves through you, connecting supply and demand in a system that runs quietly beneath everything else. You sit in clean offices during the day, signing documents and discussing numbers that look completely legitimate on paper. At night, those same numbers shift into coded conversations, where each detail represents something far more serious than it appears. A client pushes for faster results, offering more money than usual, and you weigh the risk against the reward in seconds. You approve it, knowing it will stretch your network thinner than it should be, but also knowing the profit will be impossible to ignore. Funds move through multiple accounts, crossing borders and identities, and you watch it all from a distance, making sure nothing points back to you. Level 6, the coordinator. Now you control entire chains of movement, from selection to delivery, ensuring everything runs smoothly without drawing attention. You no longer deal with individuals. You deal with systems, patterns, and outcomes that need to align perfectly every time. A disruption in one area forces you to shut down an entire route instantly, cutting losses before they grow into something larger. People under you wait for your decisions, knowing delays can cost more than money, and you feel that weight in every call you take. You start sleeping less, trusting fewer people, and double-checking details that used to feel routine. Because at this level, control is everything, and losing it, even for a moment, can collapse everything you've built. Level 7, the director. Now everything flows upward to you, filtered through layers of people who exist only to carry out your decisions without question. You operate from secure locations where meetings are brief, controlled, and never repeated in the same place twice. Reports come in daily, detailing movements, numbers, and problems that need immediate solutions, and you handle them without hesitation. When something feels off, just slightly, you act on it, removing risks before they have time to grow into threats. Trust becomes a liability, and you begin cutting connections with anyone who shows even the smallest sign of uncertainty. The system grows stronger, more efficient, and more profitable, but at the cost of everything that once made you human. Level 8, the architect. Now you don't just run the system, you are the system, built into every layer, every decision, every outcome that happens beneath you. Money flows endlessly, hidden behind businesses, contracts, and identities that keep everything looking clean from the outside. You live in controlled spaces surrounded by security, but the feeling of safety never fully reaches you anymore. Every sound feels intentional, every delay feels suspicious, and every silence feels like something waiting to break. You plan everything, trust nothing, and move carefully through a life that no longer belongs to you the way it once did. Sometimes you think about the beginning, about how simple it felt when all you had to do was watch and report. But now, there is no stepping back, no disappearing, and no clean way out of what you've created. Because at the top, you don't just control the system anymore, you're trapped inside it.